Real news. Honest and fun political talk weekly on the line 90.7 FM. Welcome back, everyone, to a sick version of Real News. And by sick, I mean that I'm not going to be talking much because I have some sort of disease. I'm sounding a lot like Hillary today.
This is why you don't hang around the shady parts of town.
I don't.
Diseases. You don't chew the bubble gum you find on the seats.
I don't even chew gum.
Well, that's a good thing. Well, maybe it would have prevented you. You know, you get your immune system up to it. You have to go and chew that.
So you're saying I should chew gum?
Well, yeah, but not right now. But like when you were a kid, you should have done some experimentation. You should have chewed some of that bubble gum from the bottom of the seat. You gotta do it at least once. Like when I was like a little baby, apparently I did that.
Apparently.
Like once, and then like I got taken to the hospital. So I was like, "Oh no, you could have like herpes or something or AIDS," and no, I was fine. I was just a dumb little kid.
Yeah, I can believe that. I'm kidding. So we have three major topics we're going to talk about because the first one's one everybody's been talking about. It's been dominating the news cycle. It's Kavanaugh, Cav boy, has been doing his testimony in the Senate, and so has the accuser, the first accuser, Ford. And basically, after all those 6 hours, nothing new came out of it, no new information. The only thing we kind of learned was that Ford took a polygraph the day after her, I think, grandmother, not mother, funeral. So it's a very invalid test because you're in a high stress emotional level that it's going to skew with the test. But if you haven't yet, look up Lindsey Graham's little spiel that he did at the testimony. That was pretty, as someone that hates Lindsey Graham, that was pretty awesome, seeing his fire and fury and his passion
he
come
went all
out.
hellfire and brimstone on him. He was just like bada bing, bada boom. He shot with both barrels that time. He's usually just a chill little,
Cuck.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, he's a neocon. He's like he was John McCain's like boyfriend for the longest time. Oh wait, that's a homophobic joke now, isn't it?
Well,
See, I don't make those jokes. I like people on the left.
But the left, they said that, and that's okay for them to say that. But,
yeah,
there's a double standard, or else they'd have no standards.
Yeah, I can't say that apparently.
But with John McCain, like I guess once he died, it was like the curse or something of John McCain. It was like a magic spell.
What?
And like when he like died, it just like ended. It's like some like crazy movie plot. Like they should go and make this into a movie. Like this whole Congress things. It really is like the whole like Trump presidency. This is like
it's gonna be
a
movie.
sequel. This is gonna be like Star Wars. This is Mr. Trump was texting me.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. He actually did text me, so
I mean my phone's a little bit
valid
slow.
excuse. Androids are slower.
I think I dropped it a few too many
No,
times.
I think it's because Androids are just slower.
No, I think I dropped it.
Fake news.
But anyways, yeah, so basically what's going on with this whole thing is like it's just been a smear campaign. She took some polygraph tests. There's a reason why they're not used in testimonies. You can like manipulate them. There's people who know how to do that. And like to my knowledge, this wasn't like an FBI polygraph test. This was just like some polygraph tests. And even then, like if we didn't need to go, if we could just polygraph people and know 100% they're right, then we wouldn't have a need for like, these millions and billions of dollars worth of legal systems and apparatuses. We would just have polygraph tests and like mind reading technology. But Mr. Musk hasn't come out with that yet. So like,
yeah, but he will soon. Oh, that's something we can also talk about later. But I want to also say that if anybody hasn't seen Kavanaugh's testimony, because I think a lot of people saw Ford's and they based their opinions off of that because Cavs came later. His testimony was gripping. I remember I was like doing stuff because I had to go to class and do a bunch of stuff. So I'm listening to it while I'm doing it. It felt like one of those like monologues in a movie that like when a lot where somebody will be speaking and events will start unfolding and they'll be cutting back, but the monologue's like a narration over like a montage. That's what it felt like. And at the part where he started, sorry, you can hear a lot of me coughing.
It's like a movie.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. Especially the whole Trump campaign, I'm surprised hasn't been turned into a movie yet, but this will be a movie. Like the Clarence Thomas movie that came out recently, because they're doing similar but worse things Kavanaugh. But seeing him cry multiple times, like, made me stop and watch it. But what really made me stop, like, literally just the world stopped, was when he said that line about the sale or something, like, we've blown the wind of accusation. I'll look up the quote, but it was a powerful quote, powerful testimony, And of course, the left says he's unhinged. He doesn't have good temperament. I'm like, well, what? How the heck? Helk.
Helk. What is a helk?
I forgot I can curse right now, but I was stopping myself like mid curse.
I mean, honestly, like you don't need to go and use the language. You ever see the episode of SpongeBob where they they do the dolphins speak? That's kind of realistic. The left they like to go and use a lot of foul language. You know, leftists.
Trump uses foul language.
Well, Trump's he's Trump. He used to be a leftist, so it's residual.
Is it? Anyway, before we get boggled down in my language, because I lost my train of thought, which I was afraid was going to happen. Yeah, they were saying like Kavanaugh's temperament was bad and all these things. Like he's not fit to be a Supreme Court justice. I was like, well, how the heck else are you going to act when your life has been ruined? Your family's life has been ruined by accusations. Your whole life has been ruined. Your name and your reputation have been totally ruined. Your whole family's been ruined over this. How are you going to just be like coming up all smiley and happy to the testimony?
Well, these people, they're just like these toilet goblins, just like going on the bottom of the floor, and they're just like finding every little thing, just like slurping it up. They're like the street cleaners. They just go and find out all the little dirt. They just keep dusting it all up. They don't believe in any of this stuff. They don't care if it was happening on their side. They go and say the same things if it was happening to them, and I think that's important. Like what we should go and do if they're going to pull this game, we should go and start playing them to the same standard. Like Cory Booker was flipping out at Kavanaugh, but he was an admitted groper. He bragged about groping a woman. He was a sexual assaulter. He's that's kind of like a predatory behavior, and he's a senator. So why can't we go and start looking at them if they want to go and play these games? Like there's 268 like with the sex where they settled with a sexual assault with like victims like out of Congress. 268. So some of
they're
those are
covering it
Democrats.
up.
There's some of them are Democrats. They don't care about that. They care about like they care about like sticking to Trump and by attacking this man's life. And I mean I give a lot of credit to Kavanaugh because the first thing I would do is I'd go and start taking Miss Ford or Mrs. Ford, I don't know. I'd go and start suing her for defamation, character assassination, slander, libel, and for like violating, committing felonies for outright lying in front of Congress. And I think that for him not to go and do that, that shows that he's got a lot of
control. Yeah,
he's got a lot of control. That's a pretty good temperament because I know I'd be like going right after her. I'd go and start looking to her past and I'd go and start bringing that up. But he's some people, he's used to this. He's used to this like media circus and being in a court of law. He was there when Bill Clinton was getting impeached and they were trying to dig up things on him, and so they didn't bring any of the sexual assault allegations up back then, which would have been closer to the time. Like this is 35 years later, and like I've said before, like the IRS doesn't even expect you to have records from 35 years ago, but this man is so well put together that from his high school years he's had calendars and that sort of information input. Like, who does that? And he's got people to corroborate with him. He's got like, I think he had a bus, like they had like some bus tour he was mentioning. Really? He has like some sort of like, that was actually a thing that happened. Like, I wouldn't remember that. I can barely remember what I like ate for breakfast yesterday or the day before. But like this guy's got the memory that's like really telling of a high IQ individual who's a perfect candidate for becoming on the Supreme Court. And then like just the whole like questions they were asking was like, ooh, what does like FFFFFFF mean? Because like Michael Avenatti, who's he's a scumbag, professional scumbag, and porn star lawyer. That's what his claim to fame is.
Creepy porn lawyer.
He was known for, I believe, I don't know if this was actually true. I heard there's a rumor that like some people on 4chan decided to go and troll Michael Avenatti and like tell him that FFFFF stand for like finger, fist, fornicate, and then some other sexual things. But like it was based on, according to the testimony, it sounds realistic. Like one of Kavanaugh's buddies, when he used to go and say the F word, he had a stutter.
Yeah.
Like a beep,
Yeah, that was a joke.
And then
he said a lot too.
Then like they were questioning about like what does biff mean? It was like a term for a fart. And like it's just stupid things like that. Then like,
well, this is like the crap we write in our yearbooks in high school. It's like inside jokes. It's not sexual stuff. Like in terms of like sexual assault, it's just us just shit talking and putting a bunch of jokes in there.
Yeah, like who go and like allow, like I know at least my school they won't allow you to be like, this is the skank of the 7th grade or whatever. And they won't like let you go and put like this girl's she's a sex girl. She's a prostitute. They won't like let you just go say that she's a slutty girl.
Well, yeah, I mean in the typing section, obviously you couldn't do that, but like when we like sign yearbooks, we put funny stuff like that. Yeah, like I remember my one friend, wrote like a very heartfelt message, like "Oh, I'll miss you," and then she makes some jokes in it, some inside jokes about, like, "Oh, I'm gonna do a psych exam on you one day." It's not because I was crazy; it's a joke. That's what people did, is they
Probably
did
do need a
jokes.
psych exam.
Okay, I probably do, but I digress. We won't talk about that. But he's
Yeah,
stemming over
we're
here.
we're having some issues. Like I can't vape right now. We've been like locked into the
Is that why you're
abyss.
stemming?
We've been locked into the abyss. No, there's little red doohickeys keep popping
Oh
up.
yeah, that's when that's the meter when it
I think
peaks.
you're being a little bit. You got.
I'm being loud
being
and
too
high
loud.
energy. Too high energy. Yeah, it must be my I do need a psych test then. But anyway, the quote I was mentioning that Kavanaugh said that literally made the whole world stop for me. It made me pull out my phone and watch. It was when he said, "You sowed the winds for decades to come. I fear the whole country will reap in the whirlwind." Fucking hell. That's a line.
Yeah, he went and he did his like great
Laser
speech.
eyes.
Got the little meme laser eyes in that image, and this is an official turning point, like meme, or is
No, this was just on the slide for the meeting. I put it on there. People laughed and loved it, but there's a lot of spicy memes coming out from this. Like, can we all at least admit to that? Like, they did the one with Christine Ford for her hand up, and it's black and white, and it says, "Sacrifice everything, even if it means remembering nothing," or whatever the Nike ad goes.
I know it was the one. Was like I'd like
believe
to,
in something, even if it means forgetting everything. That's it.
So like I like to drink beer. I like to drink beer back then. I still do.
Yeah.
I forget how the whole quote goes.
He did say it, yeah.
But it was a pretty funny thing. But like this is just sad that and then the cuckold Republicans, they're
like
throwing
Jeff
this back
Flake
for another week. Little Jeff Flake, and then Trump's kind of been like strong armed into like getting involved with this.
Yeah.
So like you give him like 1 week to go and do the FBI investigation, which they've already done investigations. Like these are not.
He's been
credible.
vetted like 6 times.
Like that girl has a lot of very disturbing histories associated with her that would lend me to believe that she may not be able to go. She doesn't have very good memory. Like she's like this guy has a good memory. You can remember like exact details from like 30 years ago. This, Ford. I think she there's something up with her. I don't trust her one bit. I think that she was getting all her like lawyers and stuff paid for by the Democratic Party.
Which one?
Oh, there's been another meme that's been coming out too. What's this? This like the Bowsette. The Bowsette. Why is this
distracted? Oh no! You know it's distracted me.
I easily looking at Bowsette. Like I don't know why that's become such a big thing. Like I keep seeing these like memes on the internet. It's like this Bowsette person, and then they had this like this Momo like cow thing. Like,
I don't know what corners of the internet you're browsing because I don't see that.
It's like on I think like the Chans, I guess. I don't know. It's like I'm on these weird Facebook groups, and then I keep seeing this and like
Mr. Alex is in a lot of weird Facebook groups, people.
And then they had like this other one with the dude who made like Skyrim, and it's like, oh, I was driving my go-kart one day, and then boom, I hit a tree, and now I'm in the back of a carriage horse. Of a horse carriage, and it's the beginning of Skyrim. And they're just like making fun of Todd Howard, and I don't know why this is coming up. I mean, but either way, Kavanaugh, that's sad. I mean, we did a whole discussion and a video
we did a whole video.
Needs some more love. Needs some more love in that video.
Yeah, it's called To Kill a Kavanaugh, which is obviously a parody of To Kill a Mockingbird. And if you've read the book, you understand the context of that. But it basically means the black man that Atticus Finch was defending had false rape accusations against him, and it's really just trying to spin it on the left, which is that you guys love this book, you love this book about anti-racism, anti-false allegations, but you guys are probably pushing a false allegation right now with the Kavanaugh thing. I mean, I literally think Kavanaugh probably did nothing wrong.
I think he did nothing wrong. Like. Honestly, from what I've seen, there's been no evidence that's been put forward by the prosecution, or where they want to call it a trial, but then not a trial. Like it is a trial because I don't think that Maryland had statutes of limitations on this sort of thing. So they're saying it's not a trial, while also being a trial. So if he admitted to even if he actually did, like if he let's say did actually commit the rape crime, Like he would
Well, it
be.
wasn't even rape. It was just like forcing himself on someone.
Yeah, but if he did do like some of the crimes that were mentioned, he admitted to it. Like he would be
Oh
sequentially
yeah.
charged because of the statute limitations. So they want to say it's not a trial, but in reality, it is a trial. It's because he's going to be giving a confession if he actually did these crimes. So I think it deserves to have the same burden of proof as a trial.
Well, now something's come out. Because the reason I mentioned that, saying it wasn't a rape allegation, because I was for four, but the other two, the third one that was alleging that he was, I don't know if
Running a train on him.
well, I
Like a
don't know
rape
if she
train.
said he was. She implied he was participating in a gang rape, and he said like he gang raped her and spiked her drink, and yet this accuser, the third accuser, information has come out that she has had lawsuits filed against her for making, wait for it, false rape accusations.
Well, what she's been saying.
Wow, I mean literally, like that's discrediting her so much.
Well, okay, so to me, if I was a girl in any time period, and I hear that, oh, they have these parties over here, and they're spiking drinks with drugs,
And gang raping
and
people.
they have gang rapes, and people like to get trains run on them, and like that's not a party that I'd want to go to.
I don't know. It sounds pretty safe to me. What are you talking about? Let's go there 10 times
Like,
until we get gang raped.
see,
That's
like
what happened to her.
you can go and
What
look
she
at
says.
what's going on in Britain, where they actually have like gang rapes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And people talk about like the media, the police might not report on it, but there'd be hundreds of people, like thousands, who knew about this. And if this was really like a situation back then, there was like rape on a massive scale and like a very long time, you would be hearing about this, even if not by the police per se. There'd still be police reports.
Well, there's still be a lot of witnesses, a lot of people that back it up, but nobody's backing up her story.
Yeah,
Not a single person.
yeah, because I don't think there's really a story there, and I think this is the reason that we need statutes of limitations. But anyway, I think we did do cover most of the
We did.
information in that other video. So let's get on to round two.
Kanye.
On as Saturday Night Liver Live. Liver Live.
Liver
Live or
Live.
Let Die.
Well, if anybody doesn't, I mean, this kind of just broke this morning because it obviously aired last night on Saturday night. Kanye went out. He was doing like these songs because Ariana Grande was supposed to be on SNL, but they replaced. She got out because of like emotional issues, so they replaced her with Kanye. They knew it'd be controversial, so they brought him on anyway. Though he did these songs, and he was doing it the whole time. He had his Trump hat on, his MAGA hat that he made his own version of, and right after the final song, he went on this rant, which SNL actually cut part of it out because of time, which is kind of a legitimate excuse, but I don't know. He basically, you can find bits and pieces of it on YouTube scattered about of the actual broadcast, and Chris Rock was there filming it, laughing at Kanye actually because he thought he was silly. But Kanye was speaking the truth the whole time. He was talking about how backstage he was, quote, the SNL crew was, quote, bullying him. He said, they're bullying me. They're trying to get me to take my hat off. That's what he was saying. Because they didn't want him to go out there with the MAGA hat. And the real quote that stood out to me was when he said, quote, the blacks weren't always Democrats. It's like the plan they did to take the fathers out of the homes and put them on welfare. Does anybody know about that? That's a Democratic plan, end quote. But yeah, I love what he's doing. But the whole audience was pretty much booing him, except like a few people were like clapping and cheering him on. But he was talking about also how it's like it seems one side in LA and with the rappers and with music and actors, but he's trying to show that there is another side, that there's another part of this country that loves and supports Trump, and they happen to make up half the country.
Oh yeah, like I've had issues with this before. Like you'll talk to a leftist on like Facebook or YouTube, and they'll go and say, "Oh, like it's not the left who are the problem; it's these like far right trolls, and they're the ones dividing the country." And like the guy, I was being completely civil with them, like saying that there are people out there. And I wasn't saying that I necessarily believed in these beliefs. But I was like, there's people out there on like that don't believe in abortion, that don't believe in like they believe in traditional marriage and all this. And the guy was like, "Oh, those people, they're all on the far right." Like, not really. Like that's pretty mainstream views. Like there's a lot of people who still believe a man and a woman should be the marriage people. Like you're not going to have.
I mean, that's become more of a harder line conservative thing. Like a lot more moderates are pretty open about that, but
Well, he was saying that's an alt-right talking
You see,
point.
that's the
not
thing.
An alt-right
It's not
talking point.
alt-right.
Like, see, here's like an alt-right talking point would say that like we should deport people of this ethnicity
Minorities.
into another
Yeah.
country. That is an alt-right talking
Yeah.
point. You don't hear about that except for by like the media when they want to go and like interview Richard Spencer or something.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he said that, but that would be like
Basically has.
I don't know. I've not really listened to him, but like that would be an alt-right talking point. But like something that they said like, oh, people don't believe in what's it, gender, like gender that like biologically there's two gender. That's not an alt-right talking point. That's a fairly mainstream Republican and even moderate Democrat talking point. But he thinks that if you believe that there's only two genders, there's you're alt-right, you're racist, you're far right, you're like a Bible thumping idiot. Like
That's a scientific, like, standard point of view, too.
like it's not like a far right viewpoint. Like that's what really upsets me is like these people they assume that like everything that's not in their box is a far right talking point. They don't realize how left they are. Like maybe in certain parts of Europe that could fly, like in England, but like not even just in England, because I know there's a lot of particular religions that are that are very conservative philosophically that are in England right now that would disagree with multi-gender beliefs, to my knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they just don't realize what the entire country is. And I mean, I don't agree with the left, but I realize what a lot of them believe. I realize a lot of them, they think that abortion is a woman's issue. They think that people can identify with whatever gender or genders that they feel comfortable with, and they might feel comfortable with whatever they saying weird pronouns and stuff. Like, I can understand their viewpoint. I can see how people might believe in this. I mean, I don't generally believe in these things, but like I can understand where they're coming from. The left, they fundamentally do not know where the right is coming from on these sort of viewpoints, and they think that like the only people who don't believe in this are like crazy alt-right people or like super religious people or like Amish people or like literal like hillbilly inbred people. And that's just like where it gets on my nerve, because they have this like higher point of moral philosophy where they think that they're better than everyone else. Like I've talked to some it wasn't even just this one guy. I've seen people in real life and I've talked to them and they just like have such a low view of Trump supporters. Like, I mean, I don't like Hillary Clinton, but I'm not going to go and say that Hillary supporters are like the scum of the earth. Like I think they're wrong, but I don't think that they're bad people necessarily.
What the heck?
Got a little phone call.
We're getting another phone call.
Ooh, I don't think that's on us. All right, so that was someone else. Yeah, sorry about that. But anyways, I didn't really see the Kanye thing too much on SNL, but I think that's wrong what they did. But I did remember seeing the Bannon on Bill Maher.
Oh yeah, Uncle Steve was on Bill Maher.
Yeah, see that Bill Maher guy, he just really gets on my nerves. He's just so condescending to him.
He's very condescending.
Like at first he was like all right, but then he was like, oh no, Trump was treason and we're gonna impeach him, and it's just like I hate this like leftist.
And then
attitude.
he says repeatedly, he's like, "You don't honestly believe that, Steve. Between you and me, you don't believe that." I hate that argument where it's like, you don't believe that. Can't you tell that Steve believes a lot of these things? He's been saying them for like 20 years. I can understand if it's some like moral like grandstanding. You could be like, I don't understand that, or I don't believe that you believe that. But Steve Bannon is saying very much the same views for this, past 20, 30 years. Like I hate this, like, oh, you don't believe that. You really don't. And yes, he does.
Oh dang. Yeah, that's some crazy stuff, like when I listen to the Bill Maher conversation, but I could just go and tell the way that he was saying things. It's like the left, they always say, "Oh, you're trolling. Oh, you're joking." Like that really gets on my nerves when they say that like everyone that doesn't believe in them is like a troll. They think that's the only way you could like, unless you're like either mentally, unsteady or you're a troll. Like it's just this like sort of leftist like mindset where you're so much better than them. And then like he was just going on and on. Then like when he was losing an argument, like there was the one, and he just like completely changed topics.
Yeah,
like,
he does that a lot.
Right quick. Like I don't even know why you go on with this guy, because he's just so like he's not like genuine. He's
the only thing he offers is a free speech platform for everyone. That's literally the only thing he offers. Like other leftists will try to shut you down or prevent you from coming on the show. He brought Milo on his show. He brought Steve Bannon Ben Shapiro, that's the one thing I'll give Bill Maher credit, is that he's sane on Islam and he's sane on free speech. But everything else, he's just your typical like far left liberal.
But that's sad when that's like considered like good just because you let them on. Like I remember like 10
I know,
years
right?
ago. 10 years ago, that used to not be the case. 10
Mhm.
years ago, you'd actually have to like everyone would let people on. This wasn't even an issue. Now it's gone so far flung. Like we've had the Overton window. It's like split off into two separate windows, and there's very few things you can like talk about. Not even biological facts in some cases. Like where you can have one person say something and not be offensive to like another group. Like it's literally like almost like it used to be where you'd have like a couple things on the very fringe of the right or the left, and that you won't be able to go and talk about the general company. But like now it's gotten to the point where there's like very few things you can talk about together, and like it's like we're in two different worlds.
Yeah.
You got the red pill and the blue pill. You got like just the actual world, and then the crazy world.
Well, it goes back to like you were saying. I've noticed this in my life too when talking to leftists. There's such a giant gap to bridge between them that they don't want to bridge. I try to understand people. I talk to them just so that I can understand their viewpoints. I mean, I'm not going to change their mind for the most part. They're not going to change mine for the most part. But the one thing I just always hope to bring about through a conversation of people with two different beliefs is that we understand each other. I understand the other person for the most part. Sometimes I don't understand because they're just spouting irrational stuff. But they don't ever try to understand me as a Trump supporter. I think it's really just bizarre because they have this sort of like one line of thinking that you have to believe what the left believes, and if you don't, you're crazy, stupid, irrational, a hillbilly. Like they look down on everyone that believes differently than them. I don't look down on other people that think differently than me. I just think sometimes they're wrong, or I think they're misguided, but I don't look down on them like they're scum of the earth or they're Nazis or they're these trashy people, because a lot of leftists are very successful people. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And I like to have fun and joke around and troll a bit, but that's not what my viewpoints are built upon. I believe what I believe because I've done the research, and I think it's the best boat to sail on.
I agree, and I believe the the last or next topic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This is a strange world we live in today.
Tommy
Tommy
Robinson.
Robinson. Yes, October 23rd. He had his trial adjourned till that date, October 23rd.
Yeah, because he went to the trial on Thursday, a few days ago, and we all thought he was going to go to jail. He thought he was going to go to jail, but they found out that the whole trial had been done incorrectly. It hadn't gone the way the procedure was supposed to go, so they adjourned it till October 23rd. So, in other words, he'll probably go to jail on October 23rd. So he's got another few days to have fun before they throw him into another torture cell.
Like, honestly, I think he should like escape. He should go and pull a Julian Assange and just like run to an embassy.
Yeah, you might have to. You should come to America, but
Well, you can't because he wasn't like he was like the only illegal immigrant that was like actually caught.
what?
Like he like came to America like years ago and like he overstayed a visa or something.
Oh wow.
And
Well,
like,
I think also he's gonna stay in Britain because he honestly is fighting for Britain. Like he wants to make Britain great again.
he's gonna end up being a martyr if he does have something like serious happen to him. Because I know they've tried before. They've had terrorists target him. They've had like people try to go and dump like sugar water on it, so like boiling sugar water so like melt his skin. It's just like really scary how bad the rest of the world is going. And this is like what the left wants to happen to America, where they want to like they had that guy from that Atypical show, that grandpa dude, the father who's an actual cuckold. Like in the show, he probably is the one in real life.
Oh,
like,
the one that was ranting about Alex Jones.
yeah, and he said no free speech for you, Alex Jones. And it's just like, yeah, this is what the left wants for everyone. He's just such a vulgar person.
Yeah.
Like all that he says is like, he's using the F bomb, and that's all he said. He's like, blankety blank you, Alex Jones, you're a racist.
Didn't he say like "fuck you, you fuck" or something?
Yeah.
Or you fuck. It's something really like bizarre.
That's all he thinks. He has a very low IQ, very low brain size. He doesn't watch enough Rick and Morty. But like no, he's just seriously, that's all he can think of. He's just like vulgarity, and that's like what the left has become these days. It's just like, oh, we need to. It's like the Family Guy mentality. It's like, oh, it's just going to be more vulgar for the sake of being vulgar, not to go and be like to prove a point or something. We're
Yeah.
just going to go and use vulgarity as like a seasoning. It's going to be like the what's that hipster seasoning they put on everything? Is that like little Chinese chicken sauce?
What?
It's got like the little spicy sriracha. It's like the sriracha for the left.
Sriracha.
It's the sriracha for left. They're going to use this vulgarity and everything. Like, go look at the television. They have like a lot of language. Family Guy, they use language in there, and they have just disturbing sexual scenes. Like they have every single show, every single movie. It's very hard to go and find a movie that like the whole family can watch. It's either like little kids movies or it's like these like adult movies.
It's like G-rated or R-rated. There's like no in between anymore. And I know what you mean because it's like my grandmother always mentions this. She's like, everybody goes off and watches their own show. There's no family time where you're together watching something. And that's because, you can be niche now. You can distribute things to a certain target market, and that's technically more profitable for these companies. So it's hard to create something that everybody likes because everybody, has their specific thing they like, and they're catering towards that instead of creating something everybody can like, which is hard, but it's not the same anymore. Because once you get, you'll find niche stuff that you're gonna like. You're gonna like that more than that general stuff. So you have more diversity of content, and you're gonna be sticking towards that. But the atypical dad, like I really got triggered over that no free speech for you. This is the problem right here with the left. They have become the party that is against free speech. It's not an exaggeration. It's not demeaning. They will fucking own up to it and say, yeah, we don't like free speech. We believe in hate speech laws. We believe in censorship. We believe in shutting down Alex Jones. Don't you understand that if you silence one person for something, you silence everyone? Free speech is universal. You take it away from one person, you take it away from everyone. That's how it works. And see this guy rant like this is really irritating because they don't understand the principle of free speech. They don't understand that we're supposed to, the founders created this amendment so that we'd have bad and good ideas out there, and we decide which is right, and we pick it and move on. Don't get so triggered and censor things just because you don't like them, because as a subjective line, do they want Donald Trump writing hate speech laws? Like, that's what's so ironic with me is they hate Trump so much, but they're like, yeah, we need hate speech laws. The government needs to create hate speech laws. Well, he's just going to say F you and say, well, any speech that's critical of me is now hate speech.
Oh, yeah, like he wants to go.
He wouldn't do that, but you get my point.
He wants to go and turn cops into a protected class, which I think if you want to go and have any protected classes, I don't think we should have protected classes. But if you want to go and have them, I don't see why cops can't be part of that because they're obviously like targeted unfairly by a bunch of other groups. And cops mess up once in a while, but I don't think, we should go and have protected classes at all. And when they have this and they tell Trump, we need to go and have hate speech laws, he needs to be like, okay, so you can't go and talk bad on Republicans and like cops. So, I mean, it'd be funny on them. I mean, in the long term, I think you should be able to go and talk smack on anybody. That's my viewpoint.
Yeah, I'm pretty much a free speech absolutist. Where I compromise on is that hate, death threats, no fighting words. I mean, some defamation's justified, but that's really hard to prove. But
yeah, I agree. Like, no doxing people. That's like my big
yeah
thing. I don't want people to be doxed like they had that Maxine Waters like assistant.
Yeah, apparently Maxine Waters' people were doxing Lindsey Graham and others that spoke out in support of Kavanaugh.
I almost forgot about that, but yeah, like I don't like doxing. I don't like people threatening people with like credible violence threats. Like, it's one thing if you're gonna say that you're gonna go and kick someone's butt. It's another thing if like you're like, I'm gonna go and find your house and do this to you and like do this to your your kids. I think that your family should be out of it, and I don't think you should be able to falsely accuse people of things either.
Yeah, because we were talking about that in the meeting, which is that, and I don't think people understood the question because people were being a little too emotional, and I was trying to explain it to them. But when Mikey asked, basically like, should we allow people to be able to make false accusations so easily? Because the problem with it is that, like with Kavanaugh, you can ruin somebody's life with it when you can't prove it one way or another. It's very hard to prove a negative. Should you be allowing false accusations like this? And that doesn't mean we're going to censor it or anything, but should it be kept private? Should it be revealed to the public? Like, what are we going to do about this? Because people's lives are getting ruined from it. I mean, the Duke lacrosse team's a perfect example. Kavanaugh is a perfect example. So I find it very troubling that we're in an era where the left is weaponizing sexual assault allegations to ruin people's lives, to stop people that they don't like. Is it going to get worse after this? Probably, because they're realizing it works. It worked, with Roy Moore, even though those were, I think, had way more credibility and they were probably true. But with Kavanaugh, the truthfulness is very low, these allegations. But they're not going to stop him. He's going to get nominated anyway, but they know that this is a very emotional, very powerful tactic. I don't know what the next step is, except they're just going to keep doing it and doing it and doing it until they take somebody down. And then they're going to keep doing it until they take more people down. It's a very dangerous game we're playing here.
Well, I agree, but yeah, any last words on this whole thing? I think we probably did good covering on that whole Kavanaugh situation and these other issues.
Yeah, we were supposed to be talking about Tommy, but we kind of diverted.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't really know. Like, I think we've talked about a little bit of this before. Like, he's gets into jail. I'm not too familiar on this newest incident. I just know that he's probably one of the last big hopes for Britain.
Yeah, I'd say he's one of the bravest, if not the bravest, like right-wing advocate or activist, because this guy is putting his life on the line every day. People are always flinging literal shit at him and threatening him and trying to attack him. I remember like 6 Antifa tried to attack him, but he like took them on. Like, it was pretty badass. Like, I should show you that video.
6 Antifa versus one British boy. Who
who would win? One Tommy versus 6 Antifa.
Oof.
But that he impresses me what he does, and he's very brave. I don't think there's any other right-wing activist that's gone to jail for their views, but this guy is. I mean, it's also because Britain's so cucked that they can actually throw you in jail for these things, but nothing really compares to what this guy is doing. And I always talk about him because nobody in the mainstream media is talking about this. Nobody on Fox or on CBS or CNN or MSNBC are talking about it. And if they do, they talk about it for 5 seconds and move on. Even though it's one of the biggest stories that's happening right now.
I agree.
Do you have to go for that phone call?
I think we probably did a good portion
Yeah.
of the talks today.
The talks, yeah, we're around 40 minutes in. So this is a shorter real news today, a lower energy one too. I apologize. Good thing we recorded the Kavanaugh thing when we were higher energy.
I got to sleep on the floor, so
yeah, he slept on my floor.
Good either. But anyways,
I'm dying.
Tune in next week. Hopefully, we'll have a little better luck, especially since there won't be. Is there gonna be like a big football game again next week?
I don't think so. I'll have to check, but that's the only problem for time slots of football season. But if you want to see real news and high energy with honest and fun political talk, tune in every Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the line 90.7 FM to listen to our broadcast and even call into the show or join the Discord server and chat with us. It's done in association with Versa, but it's a fun program that we do. And we also have our other friends. And Mikey will be in studio now since he has a mobile.
A mobile?
Form of transportation. Yeah.
Yes.
The Mikey mobile.
Yes.
So, yeah, I have nothing else to say, really. Just nothing has happened except Kavanaugh. Because every other news story has been literally, held off till next week.
Sargon did his, that's probably another topic.
Yeah.
What's been going on with Sargon and that whole Killstream controversy?
Yeah, Killstream literally just kills careers. I kind of don't like it now because it's
that's why they call it the Killstream.
It just brings up drama, unnecessary drama.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, that's a whole nother topic. But
yeah, drama.
Wouldn't really call that super
newsworthy. Yeah, well, what he was alluding to is that Sargon's basically taking a break. I think he's working heavily with UKIP now, and balancing that with YouTube has been a lot of time commitment.
Oh, yeah, and he had that whole thing with YouTube, or not YouTube, with UKIP, where they had his sayings with there was some weird things about the kids. The age of consent conversation you had on there.
He said nothing wrong there. That was basically what...
I know, but
they're doing the thing with, what they did to Milo.
Yeah.
Even though Milo, he had some, bad wording in some of it, but,
But then he did say some things. He said you're acting like certain words.
Oh yeah, that I know, but to me that's nothing. Like
I know, but you
people say
can't
that on
be
the internet
saying
a
that.
lot.
You
People,
can't be saying that.
I
You're gonna
think
get
on here on
politics
now
on.
he can't say it. Like, but it's they're gonna pull it out. They're gonna pull out the "you wouldn't even rape me" thing,
I mean,
which is funny.
they already kind of talked about that. And I think they like mentioned that as well. Like, there's a whole thing of things that he has said, which I don't know. I'm not sure.
I
he's
think,
doing
but
from
we
that
gotta
one.
realize we're in a post-Trump world where I think in the right circumstances with the right person at the right time, like bad shit you said in the past or like gray area shit or stuff that's just not really that bad, but people can make it look bad, isn't gonna matter. Because you have a following, you have policies and passion that people care about. I don't think it matters anymore. At
In,
least not now.
in America, I agree. In England, I'm not sure. In other
Yeah, that's true.
countries,
Yeah,
I
because
don't know.
England's a strange
They
place.
don't have free. They don't
They
have freedom of
don't.
speech.
They literally don't. Look at Tommy.
They don't have freedom of speech in England. They don't have freedom of speech in Europe. They're trying to get Le Pen, put in the pen for, like incitement to hatred or something like that. Like they're not free countries.
Yeah, they literally put Tommy in for breach of the peace.
Well, they do.
What the fuck does that mean?
They have that in the United States too. It's like they just don't use it for that sort of thing usually.
Well, they said like his contempt of court, which is technically the charge. Breach of peace was like the violation, and they charged him with contempt of court. Like they were saying that that's something like it's like a parking ticket.
Yeah.
You pay it, you move on, or if you don't pay it, you fucking don't get you get like a slap on the wrist no matter what. But with this, he was thrown in jail for months. He was sentenced for what 18 months, I think, was his sentence, and he got off early because they found such a kangaroo court. I mean, it's really crazy.
Yep, England's not as free as people think it was.
America's the best country. Changed my mind just because of free speech alone.
Yep, but yeah, I think that's about.
Yep, I think we've jabbered on enough.
Yeah, we've done a decent bit. We did a decent video today, but yeah, take a look next week, and we'll have some more interesting stuff. Until then, it's Alex is signing out.
Yeah, I'm signing off too. I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with more real news.